Ready, set, art. The 3/4 view of a face. So I would have to say out of the three main ones, front view of a face, side profile, and then the 3/4, which is the halfway in between, right? Where we see most of one side and then partial of another side. This one's probably the most popular, right? So I want to show you how to get it started, how to figure out the facial features, especially on this side, and then go over what not to do, what tends to happen in the 3/4 view that doesn't happen normally, like that we should try to avoid, right? So looking at this one, what we're going to do is we draw the shape of the face first, and we have to include the back part of the head because it's a 3/4 view. And that means the back part of this neck, the ears on the side, this part of the neck will be here as well, and the chin is slightly over. So you're going to notice view-wise, here's the neck, but the chin is on this side, okay? The other thing, access line-wise, is that the lines are curved. The lines are curved, okay? That helps it to look more three-dimensional. So let's get started. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start by creating the shape of a face. This part's normal, right? And then we get to here, and it's kind of like a side profile, but a little more squished in. Then we get to here, and instead of bringing that jawline all the way like you would a side profile, you kind of add the bottom part of a chin, and then you go up. The bottom part of a chin, and then go up. What do I mean by that? Here's the bottom part of that chin. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and put in that part of the neck and this part of the neck. Right? This helps us to already figure out it's a 3/4 view. Okay. Now that's actually kind of a short neck. You could draw it a little longer if you want. Next, now that we have this chin part, it helps us to figure out where that access line is, that very first one. So I start in the middle of that chin, and I slightly curve it, not as strong as the curve on the side, but just slightly, and bring it up. Okay. The next part is figure out where the eyes are. So remember, you need to use your C measurements and find the halfway point, okay, because you don't want the eyes too high. The eyes are always halfway between the top of the head, right here, and the chin. So it looks like it might be right here. Well, let's check, because I might be wrong. So I'm going to do my C measurement. That means holding my hand, pointer finger and thumb like that, and then I hold it up. Okay, so that looks like it's too high. I did kind of think as soon as I put it down, it was too high. All right, that actually might be right. So let's look. Maybe a little higher than that. See, artists make mistakes all the time. Sometimes when students first take art, they think that everything has to be perfect right away, and that's just not true. All right, so this part is going to be a slight curve. It's almost following our jaw, but just a little bit. See that? Okay. Then from here, the eye line to the chin, find the halfway point, C measure it to make sure it's correct, and it's not. It's a little too high. Like I said, we make mistakes all the time, and then we have to just correct it. Okay, that's where the bottom of the nose is. From the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin, we find the halfway point again. C measure it. It's a little lower. Just a little lower. And then, okay, and that's where the bottom of the mouth is. So you can start to see already, just by putting those placements in, that it starts to feel right. If you follow this jawline up a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and figure out where my ear is. And that's actually probably too small, right? Because if you remember from the past videos, ears are way bigger than you think. Okay, so that actually helps me with making sure the eyes aren't too big. Now, in past videos, I've said this, sometimes students make eyes way too big. They make it way too big. So the example I have here is a full set eye. It is a big set eye. So if you draw it bigger than this, you went too big. Okay, that is a common mistake. The other thing is the eye on this side of the face will be normal. The eye on this side is squished in. It's small. So a common mistake that happens is they do this part, first of all, way too big, right? And then the second part is they have this part of the eye go off the edge of the face, as if they're trying to draw the full eye. Let me take that off. Okay, and so we know we're aiming toward that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start shaping my eye. And again, I'm going for a full set eye so that you understand, don't go bigger than that, right? Okay. I'm going to include part of an eyelid. I feel like that helps to make it look normal, okay? And then this part of the eye, because then we know not to put the lashes inside. A lot of times people put the lashes right on the edge, when really when you look at it, and you look at your own eye, there's this little space here, and you add those little ones in. And then generally in drawings, we try to not to go too crazy with the lashes. Okay, almost there. Generally there's a shadow right there. Okay, so that is a full set eye. Most eyes are smaller than that, so if you go too big, you know, it's crazy. Now, that helps with this eye, but what about this side? You're already probably thinking there's something wrong. It's this section right here. We're going to go ahead and fix that. I'm bringing in the brow and then the cheekbone. Okay, there's actually usually a kind of a bump right here on the side of the face from the mouth pushing out. Okay, so then from here, I'm actually taking this eye, and to make sure I don't go too high, because that's a common mistake, I'll show you what I mean. There's something off about that. It's way too high. So what do we do? What do we do? I kind of look at this part here, and I create a guideline following my curve. Okay, so if you follow that curve, that means this side does not go higher. So I'm going to go ahead now and create this eye shape. I'm trying not to go too low. If you look, I only went a little bit lower. Okay, it seems weird right now, but you have to remember it's a 3/4 view. We're seeing the eye at an angle, right? Okay, do my squiggles, remember that's just for fun. I put in this little line here, remember that little line, because our little lashes go off of there. And we don't draw too many lashes because then it could look too crazy. Okay, so you could see right now I think this part is a little too high. I'm going to fix that. Okay, remember that's why we put the guide. Okay, that's much better. Now normally I'd go right into the nose, but I do think it's better to go ahead and shape an eyebrow first. And just, you know, most eyebrows are really close, but some people do have higher eyebrows. All right, so I'm going to bring this eyebrow here. Some eyebrows are thinner, I know that, but I'm going for an average shape. Maybe it's thicker. Okay, that looks good to me. Now, if you make this part too high, you could just kind of create that curving again to make sure. Now I can figure out my nose, because if you follow an eyebrow down, you can even look at yourself in the mirror and do a 3/4 view. If you follow your eyebrow down, it generally leads into the nose. I'm going to draw an average sized nose because I don't want you to draw the nose too small. That's another little thing that sometimes happens is people draw noses way too tiny. We got to be able to smell with those things. Some people do have tiny noses. Not everyone does, though. Okay. So in this case, it's almost like a side profile nose, but we have to include this part of the nostril. That's where I use my guideline to figure out the bottom of the nose, and then bring this up. Oh, I already did something wrong. If this is where my access line is, that needs to end right there, because that's where it starts my Cupid's bow. Alright, so this is kind of right now your average size nose. I try to put in this part so it kind of helps us to figure out that it's more of a 3/4, so instead of a side profile. So the common mistake in this case is they make it look like it's from the front, where we see the full nostril on the other side, as if the nostril was stretched out, right? So you can see in this one, we see a partial, right? And that helps us to identify it as a 3/4 view. Okay, so now I'm going to follow this point down to make the Cupid's bow, right? What is that Cupid's bow? The Cupid's bow leads down into the center of the lip. And that helps us to figure out this part. Now, when you look at your model, what helps to figure out how far the mouth goes is you would hold up your pencil from nose to mouth and then compare it to your drawing, and then you put a mark. And then you do the same thing with the other part. You kind of hold from nostril to mouth, the end of that mouth, and figure that out. And then you put those 2 dots in, and you shape the mouth. Okay. All right, and that helps to figure that out. The common mistake here is the people bringing the mouth out way too far. They draw it as if it's from the front, and then this mouth like almost looks like it's fish hooked, like someone moved the mouth over to the side. So don't do that. We're actually almost done. I'm just going to fix part of the chin there. Some people have a droopier face, so that you have to just look at them. Okay, this is actually kind of a small ear. I'm going to widen it out because it looks a little odd to me. All right, and then finish up my ear. Right now, she's definitely a bald woman. Some women are bald. I'm okay with that. I'm just going to go ahead and maybe put in a shorter hair, I guess. Okay, like this. And that way I can have time to show you how to start a braid if you ever want to do a braid. I love braids and drawings, mostly because of the pattern. I'm just, in general, a pattern fan. So I want to show that as well. Now, if you're drawing a male, you know, and that it doesn't quite look like this, that's fine. I would just, you know, I did a male in the last one. I drew a guy with a shorter hair, and in the first girl with the front view face, I showed with straight hair on one side and curly hair on the other. And I hadn't shown braids yet, so I figured I need to kind of show that as well. And braids are, I love sometimes when there's different colors or there's the little beads in it. It just in general, it adds a visual interest. So, okay, so this is what I like to do. I go ahead and section off where I want the braids. I realize sometimes when people have braids done, they have it done, go in different directions. I'm just going to show a standard. Okay. So you section it off. Okay. And then you can go. So I kind of start with a curve and then an extra curve. It's almost like little mini parentheses. So I'm doing kind of an abstract version of a braid. So parentheses, 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 right? And that would be kind of an abstract version of it. Of course, you can go really tight and show, like if we were to look at braids from here, I guess, you know, it kind of goes like this, right? Looks like this. Sometimes they go like this. That's another way of doing a braid. But that's as if it's super sharp on one side, so you might round it out like this. And that's another way of doing a braid. So I wanted to show an abstract version and then the traditional braid version. Okay? All right. So when you finish, I want to see that, you know, done as a 3/4 view. I should see the line work involved. However the person's hair is done is how you go with it. I just wanted, in 3 videos, I wanted to show kind of like the 3 main ways of doing hair. So I hope that helps to complete that part. Thank you and good luck.